Hello, thank you for coming to the weekly weather briefing. My name is Ansley Long. I'm a meteorologist here at the National Weather Service, Atlanta, and today is Thursday, July 28th, 2022. I would like to start today's briefing off with some highlights for this week's forecast. A weak boundary will push southward into North Georgia and be the primary focus for showers and thunderstorms over the weekend. Some storms could become strong to severe, where the primary threats will be damaging wind, locally heavy rainfall, and frequent lightning, and flash flooding may be a concern, especially across North Georgia. Heat index values will climb into the triple digits over the weekend, where we will need to monitor those values in the event that they meet heat advisory criteria, which is 105 degrees Fahrenheit. By the start of the work week, high pressure will build back in, and we could see isolated to scattered thunderstorm activity throughout the remainder of the week. Taking a quick look at our current conditions, we've got visible satellite imagery as well as radar overlaid across that satellite imagery here, and we can see that there are some showers starting to pop up across the state, where we've got a little bit more of enhanced cloud coverage over the northern portion of Georgia. However, if we look off to our northwest, we see some more organized activity for showers and thunderstorms, and that is across a boundary that is anticipated to sag south and impact our northern tier. Taking a quick look at simulated radar, we do have the opportunity for some isolated thunderstorms possible today. We do think that there may be a little bit more activity than we've seen in the previous days, but tomorrow there should be more organized convective activity as that weak boundary that I pointed out earlier starts to sag southward, where scattered thunderstorms and showers will be possible tomorrow. So taking a quick look at the severe weather outlook, today, for day one, SPC has placed us in a marginal risk, which is a 1 out of 5, meaning there's a low-end confidence or low-end threat of any widespread severe storm activity. However, the primary hazards today with any storms that do form will be damaging winds, locally heavy rainfall, and frequent lightning. Day two, we have a little bit more of our northern portion of Georgia being encompassed by that marginal risk. Again, some storms could become strong to severe, where damaging winds, locally heavy rainfall, and frequent lightning will be the primary threats. Day three, we are just in a general thunderstorm risk, where some storms could still become quite strong, where the same primary hazards will be at play. So for today's chances of precipitation, we do have a chance of precipitation primarily along and north of the I-85 corridor, as well as south of a line from Columbus to Macon. Those chances increase tomorrow as that weak frontal boundary shifts southward, where we do have likely to chance pops again along that I-85 corridor. And Saturday, those likely chances become more widespread, again, as that boundary continues to impact our area and becomes the focus for a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity. Sunday, those widespread chances of likely precipitation will start to shift a little bit northward as high pressure builds in. And through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we continue our chances of precipitation, where a lot of our activity will be primarily isolated to scattered in nature. For our rainfall forecast, WPC has placed us in a day one marginal risk for excessive rainfall. Day two, parts of our northwest corner of the state sneak into that slight risk, which is a 2 out of 4 for excessive rainfall, where the rest of North Georgia remains in that marginal risk. And by day three, that marginal risk shifts a little bit southward, again along that frontal boundary, where we may see some excessive rainfall, which means that there will be a risk for some flash flooding. So moving on to days 1 through 7 QPF, Primarily north of I-85 and especially up in the North Georgia mountains, we could see rainfall totals anywhere between 1 to 3 inches. Where south of I-85, we'll see anywhere between about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. However, it is important to note that rainfall amounts could vary, especially on a local scale due to the erratic nature of some summertime thunderstorms. So just keep that in mind, but we will be keeping an eye on this forecast, especially as it pertains to any flash flood risk. The one good news about the rainfall is that we really could use it. So here is just a quick look at our drought summary. The image on the left is our current drought conditions, and we can see compared to the image on the right, which was the drought conditions from last week, that we have had a pretty good improvement, where really the only locations that are experiencing D1 or moderate level drought are focused here in southwest Georgia. There are some areas still, of course, that we can improve upon where we do have D0 drought conditions, which is just abnormally dry. And so hopefully with some of that rainfall this week, we can improve upon that and continue to improve upon our statewide drought conditions. Taking a quick look at our high temperature forecast for Atlanta, Athens, Columbus, and Macon, we see some pretty typical high temperatures for this time of year, where Atlanta and Athens will see high temperatures in the low to mid 90s, while Columbus and Macon will see high temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. While we see daily max temperatures in the 90s, we'll see heat indices creep up into the triple digits, which of course brings us to our next concern over some locations meeting the heat advisory criteria, which is a heat index value of 105 degrees or greater. So Friday, we see some locations across central Georgia starting to flirt with that 105 degree mark. But by Saturday, we do see some more widespread 105 degree heat index values. So just stay tuned to the forecast to see if a heat advisory is issued for your area. Make sure to drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, take frequent breaks in the shade or inside when possible, and wear light clothing. Luckily, by Sunday, some of those heat index values do start to drop off. However, they are still in the triple digits, so those are still pretty dangerous. And so while they don't meet heat advisory criteria, again, just remember to stay hydrated, take frequent breaks, and make sure to wear some light clothing. Taking a quick look at the tropical weather outlook, tropical cyclone activity is not anticipated, so we continue to remain relatively quiet here in the Atlantic Basin, but we of course are always keeping an eye on it so that when any activity does occur, we can continue to monitor that situation. So to wrap up this weekly weather briefing, I would just like to summarize the main points for the forecast for this week. So the weak boundary will push southward into North Georgia starting Friday and will continue to impact our area over the weekend, as that boundary will be the focused area for showers and thunderstorms this weekend. Again, some storms could become strong to severe, where the primary threats will be damaging wind, locally heavy rainfall, and frequent lightning. Again, flash flooding will be a concern, especially across North Georgia, so we will be keeping an eye on some of those storms that produce some locally heavy rainfall. Heat index values will climb into the triple digits over the weekend, so we will be monitoring some of those heat index values, and if heat advisory criteria are met, which is a heat index of 105 degrees Fahrenheit, we will of course issue heat advisories as needed. High pressure will build back in by the start of the work week, but we could continue to see some isolated to scattered thunderstorm activity throughout the remainder of the week. So thank you again for joining us on this week's weather briefing. You can always connect with us. Feel free to call the office, or you can always reach out to us on any of our social media channels, which are provided here.